Hello there, folks, and welcome to this week's Warpportal Weekly. I am CM Community Manager for Ragnarok Online. Today, I don't know if CM is going to be able to make it. Hopefully the music is not too loud. I'm going to set the microphone right here. Welcome, folks. Hope you guys are having a nice afternoon. This is our weekly talk show where we just kind of talk about what we've got going on in the game and so, actually, can I copy that? No. Since still waiting, we're going to show off a little bit of Requiem on the thing. We'll have to see if that'll work. But in the meantime, you guys have got me here. Let's see if there's anything that I can get going. What I was going to do on this stream, since just kind of having a solo stream right here, is switching over to... I need something to go behind here. But this is sort of the Wild West map that I was working on. So why don't I see if I can open up a new window, see if that'll work. Alright, I showed this off last week. I'll put this up while I get the other stuff set up. This is the concept we're going to be sending over to Caro, like, hey, you know, it would be very difficult for us to get this for the anniversary, but I figure we should try to get a request in. So yeah, not sure they'd even be able to do that for June, but whoops. But I figured nothing ventured, nothing gained. Native says, what is that? This is the concept for a Wild West themed town that I developed. The proposal is to have it for the anniversary. You know, the possibility of having this around June or so, although for the level of complexity, you know, that might not be possible. Yeah, DJ Mad. We're still getting Rebellion targeted for August. Regardless of this is something where I kind of didn't want to tie it in too close, so they wouldn't say something like, "Oh, well, you actually have to have the Rebellion in before we can start developing it," or something like that. That's not really what we want. Sorry, just adding some images here. War Mittens Fuzzy Kitten says, howdy partner. You know, you guys can just kick your shoes up and join me on this kind of lazy Friday afternoon as I just do a little bit of concept work on this right here. It was a ton of fun doing this on the stream for when we had folks in the office last week, was it? Seems like the time's really gone pretty quick. Let's see if I can get a nice landscape shot. These are just sort of like inspiration. Of course, you've been playing through Red Dead Redemption again. It does a really good job of capturing that kind of Wild West, you know, whether it be sort of the rivers, the deserts, a lot of different cool locations you could come across in that game. And it really kind of encapsulated what was cool and interesting about the Wild West, especially in the architectural design and sort of the way that they put together their maps. But I thought it might be fun to kind of get some feedback from you guys on what kind of map you guys would like to see. What kind of features you would want to have in a map themed around the Old West. Move that to the top. Put that down a little bit. Alright, not the best layout. Miru says konnichiwa, howdy. Let's get that window added. Yeah, I've got the microphone right next to the keyboard, so that probably doesn't help too much. Let's move that over here. Let's get chroma key. If you're getting a disconnected from server error, please send in a ticket to the GM team and they'll be able to take a look. I know that a few people have been getting bugged out recently. I don't remember what the cause was on that. But that's definitely something that we can investigate. Fat Psyche says, I'm from Puro and Rebellion is one of the things that I'm excited about migration. Since Puro always have very late updates, at least we'll speed up with getting Rebellion soon. Now that's not to say necessarily that the updates that we get are all that much faster, unfortunately. But you know, we're trying as hard as we can to get it to you guys in a timely fashion. So I figure it might be good for us to start with just kind of a blank template for a map. Most of Auro's maps are pretty square, wouldn't you say? So that's pretty small for a map. You know, I've plopped down one of our characters from Port Malaya. He's got a kind of a cool gunslingery look. Could pass off as a revolver ocelot or something like that, but I don't know if this map is really quite big enough. Junzi, is it possible that your account or your character was in an instance dungeon when we had a disconnection or brief maintenance? Because I know that if you get caught, it's not too big, but it's a start. More maps I'd love to see are maps such as the Sky Palace at Rachel's Pope Room. Yeah, I don't know if you guys are excited like I'm excited. You know, when I was in the PlayStation era, I could give less than a poop about the Metal Gear series. I played one. I hated that the cutscenes were so long. I hated that it just took... it was frustrating to play, let's say. But, you know, last year, watching people do Let's Plays and stuff like that of 2, 3, and 4, I was like, well, okay, maybe there's a little something to this. And playing the Yakuza games, there's so much equivalent to like cutscenes and codec conversations in that game. I guess it kind of got me all prepped for that. War Mittens Fuzzy Kitten says it would be fun to have something, mentions horse mounts for a Wild West town. Like, it would make sense, although because it is the RO universe, I think me myself I'd probably have Pecos in there. Ooh, that looks weird. Does that look weird? Okay. Yeah, so basically these are tiny little dots, but on the screen they come across kind of weird. So, I know, DJ Mad C, Metal Gear Solid 5, September 1st. I love reloading. But yeah, I got a chance to play the HD collection for Metal Gear Solid. Actually, I started off with playing Peace Walker, and actually really like Peace Walker a lot. A lot of people say it's kind of like Metal Gear Monster Hunter or something like that. It's but yeah, without further ado, let's take a look. So this is the color for the map. So what I'm going to do is let's find out what color this is. Let's get the... I don't know if this is appearing in a different window or something like that. Let's see. Colors, match photo, component styles. So essentially we kind of have a hill up. I don't know if you guys can see the mouse cursor, maybe not. But kind of above the town we have a little hill here. I thought that we might want to continue that. So let's see how wide. It says it's 166, about 167 feet. So let's see what we got here. Kind of wanted to go with more of a deserty. Yeah, that's not too different. Most of RO's landscape is pretty angular. But we can start building up a little bit of the terrain here. Second, the canyon. We do have a bank. There is a bank in the other town. So maybe what we could do is kind of, if the whole thing is a canyon, maybe sort of have this as the way that the canyon runs, or we can have a canyon run through part of it. I want to have a little bit of grazing land up here where we would have a ranch or something like that. Junesy says, what program is this? This is SketchUp. It's a free modeling program. It's just all throughout architecture school, I use the hell out of this program. It's great for making very quick and dirty 3D models. You know, it's not tremendously elegant, but you know, we're kind of not here for elegant. We're here for just being able to quickly visualize a design that you are working on. So it's very nice. It'll kind of remember, it'll turn a certain color if it's lined up with a plane. If it's kind of on the edge of whatever you're already drawing. So yeah, pretty quickly I can create a little bit of, make it so it's not just a 90-degree angle here, give kind of a little bit of an idea of what this would look like in RO. Oops. Yeah, so this is kind of like our cliff here, which is continued from the cliff that we have in the in our rendering here. Now, how do I get that darn material window to show up? I know I'm going to be making a rebellion. I should probably be leveling a character right now. One problem in RO that I think kind of sucks is that you can't have a... You can only have someone walk on one plane. Like if we actually built a bridge from here to here, you can only have someone walking on the top of it. You can't have people walking down below and people walking up above. Unfortunately, the RO client does not really allow for that, and I think that's kind of a bummer. What kind of guns are you maining and subbing? Revolver, rifle, Gatling, and grenade launcher. You know, in the Gunslinger, in the characters that I played for Gunslinger, I've never really used anything but, you know, start off with the pistols and then move up to rifle or shotgun. Like, I was never able to find or to afford the Gatling guns and cool stuff like that. I kind of wish that the Gunslinger looked more like an Old West gunslinger. I think the look that they have is very much more like a 19th century. It's sort of like the gun-armed soldiers that they had in Asia, maybe like around the early 19th century or like the late 19th century. That's certainly what the rebellion looks like. It kind of like a in Japan, it would be like a Meiji period soldier. need to just have this thing just continually play. Let's see. So, I mean, we kind of have some... We have our canyon here, which I guess is kind of not really as steep as I would have wanted. But let's have a little bit of water going through it. But we do have the train. Yeah, we've got the train coming through here. The tracks are about 5 feet wide. We've got our tracks here. I guess we could have like a rail bridge or something like that. This may be a little trickier. All right, we'll have to cheat. Yeah, I certainly hope it'll be possible to get more support for the Gunslinger class. That looks okay. Well, this, I guess, would be our train bridge here. Kind of a steep grade for a train, but you know, this is fantasy. Yeah, that's the problem. There are just a ton of classes that were just not designed. They were not really designed for renewal. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the long and short of that. Catarat, I am working on a map concept that we're sending to our Korean development team to make. We want to get a U.S. themed, kind of an Old West town for our anniversary quest. It's something that I kind of wanted to do for a long time, and even if they're not really able to prep it by the time that like the Rebellion Gunslinger second class comes in, I want to put in the request. No. Construction. No. I'm trying to find colors. Layers, measurements, principal, sandbox, section, shadows. Shadows I kind of have here. So, styles? No. I can turn on views, that's nice. The nice thing about that is you can kind of set, like, hey, I want to look at this from all these different directions. Let's see. Let's see if I'm able to do one of those mesas. All right, we've got that. Oops. Gonna try to have roughly the same number of this one won't be that steep. I should have colored these before. Now these, because there's sort of all these different polygons, you actually have to, you can't just draw this line, you actually have to draw a line in between these struts, and it'll kind of, it'll create the polygon you need to close the shape, because they're not perfectly flat. I should probably have colored this before so that all this extruded stuffs would already have a color to it. But oh well, you live and learn. Now me, I've never actually seen one of these things in person, so I have no idea how this would actually look, how the heck these things actually work. But I think it's cool. Okay, so that closes that shape. So we kind of have our rail going out this way. Let's see. The line in the middle thing is not too bad. Like, let's see. You can actually turn off the. You can turn off the edges, so most of them at least. So if it bothers you, I guess you can actually turn that stuff off. So this would be the field map. Well, I mean, my question to you guys is like, what kind of stuff would you want to see? Like you said, canyon. I think a bridge would be nice. It'd be kind of neat to have a little bridge sort of area. Yeah, I like the mesas too. I think it gives it kind of a nice look to it. I guess these areas wouldn't have a lot of trees. You'd probably have more Murio says, so I'm curious, what's inspired all this Western stuff? How did it begin? I think I first kind of thought up the idea back in 2011. So let's see when Red Dead Redemption came out. All right, so that game came out in 2010. So that probably was the genesis of that. I mean, I've liked Western stuff enough, but I think, let's see, I think it was, the genesis of this was that we actually had gotten a pretty big update for one of our towns. I don't think I remember too much about renewal. No, that was 29. Brasilis came out. Brasilis, Dewata, like we got a couple of really awesome we got like a couple of really cool maps based on other countries, and it was sort of like, listen, we've been around for how long? We don't have our own damn map? Like, come on. I still think it's a little ridiculous that we have not had one before then, but I guess part of it is that it's kind of a request that comes in from the partner or something like that. So maybe that's why it hadn't happened before. But I don't know. It's, you know, not to be all Merca and all that, but you know, I think International Ragnarok Online is worthy of getting a themed map. I think that's something that, you know, even if it is tough for them to do, well, gosh, you know, I think we're entitled to ask for it. Yeah, I apologize. My drawing ability, even when I was in architecture school, was pretty much limited to just polygonal, rectilinear shapes. So probably won't be a lot of curves and stuff like that in the stuff that I'm designing. But I'm hoping that the stuff that we're giving them will be enough. Maybe it will inspire them too. Maybe they also enjoyed, Red Dead or American Western movies. The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly is one of my favorite films. It's filled with a tremendous amount of action and adventure. It's kind of everything you'd want from a Western movie. Two Mules for Sister Sarah is also another tremendously fun Clint Eastwood Western. Shirley MacLaine is very good in it. That did not close the shape. What am I missing? Oh, okay. All right, that's not clean. I don't like that. I don't like that. The only problem with SketchUp is that it's more tolerant if you're doing really sloppy work. So you can end up checking something out later and being like, oh no, this should not have passed muster. Yeah, Mad Dog McCree. Yeah, Rod Jones says a town would have to have a saloon. If you guys haven't seen it, let me just walk you through the concept for the town. Pretty standard Wild West town, not in any way based on Armadillo from Red Dead. I was about to say Red Letter Media, but that's a little different. But we have the train station here with a water tower for you to refill your boilers, and you kind of have to have that if you're going to have a steam train. You've got your barber / dentist right there. You got your shooting gallery. Like this level of detail, it's like I'm not expecting them to do that, but I thought it would be cool for you to have something where you could belly up to the bar, as it were, and just like at Disneyland, kind of, you'd have targets appear, it'd flash or something, and you have to click on it. You get points that way. Maybe compete with other players for points. Who knows? Kind of a pie in the sky sort of thing. But you know what? You want to ask big and then have a fallback for when they say there's no way it's going to happen. Well, thank you very much for watching, Muriel. We've got our town jail here. We've got nice fancy hotel building. This very unfeatured building is the saloon. You want to get people around as they come off the train. Right here is the Pecco stable. That's where you keep the Peccos and kind of load them onto the train here. Right here you've got your Undertaker shop run by Mr. Paul Bearer. I don't know if we'll be able to use that. But yeah, you've got a little coffin outside, a little really tall person's coffin here. That's a deluxe. And it's right next to the church, so yeah, there's plenty of room available in the cemetery here. Over here, got just a tiny little mine, and you have your blacksmith's forge here. The general store is going to be here. Not super happy with the design just yet. I wanted to have something that was kind of like sort of like the stores that were run by immigrants from China and other parts of Asia that sort of came along with the gold rush, and they're like, you know what, this panning for gold or this mining is not a good idea. Let's open a restaurant to sell food to the prospectors and stuff like that. That'll be a better profession. So I put it right next to the bank. So I figured this would kind of be like a restaurant / general store. I think that'd be kind of cool. When your peccos are thirsty, you can bring them here to the little watering trough. And yeah, that's pretty much the town here. Pretty simple design, I guess. Well, actually, maybe not simple. Manic NPC inside coffin would be pretty cool. You know, a mining-themed restaurant would be pretty cool. One of my favorite restaurants when I was a kid is a place called Baby Doe's. It was a restaurant that was supposedly built in the building of an old mining up near Cal State LA, if you guys are familiar with California. But yeah, it was a super awesome restaurant. It was basically like Frontierland, the restaurant. It was really cool. They had baked potatoes that were about that big. It was gigantic. It was the size of your head. But yeah, they had mining tools, logging tools all along the walls of the restaurant. It had a profound effect. Just loved the architecture and stuff that came out of it. So yeah, waterfalls, huh? Let's Old West waterfall. Let's do a Google search and see if there's anything good there. Oops. I don't even know if this is what... I don't go looking at waterfalls all the time, so, apologies if this may be horribly inaccurate for what a actual waterfall would look like. I guess it makes sense to have the water flowing downstream, downhill. A watering hole here, I think that works pretty well. Let's, nope, there's something that is not connected there. What is not, oh, there we go. Stupid. Yeah, I sure wish I could find out where the darn color controls were. Rod Jones says, something tells me Native American monsters would be distasteful unless they're like skeletons with headdresses. You know, I think the thing is, like, this is sort of an idealized version of the Old West. I would not have, like, the cowboys versus Indians thing is kind of like, there's a lot of ugly history in there. Like, for the most part, most of the cultural towns in the game have not let too much of like ugly reality intrude into this, you know, relatively lighthearted fantasy game. So I don't think I'd want to have bad guy Native American or Native Midgardian characters. It's a little outre nowadays, you know what I mean? I mean, it's kind of like if you have the Wild West, you know, you don't want to forget that there are contributions by, Chinese immigrants to America, African Americans, both free and slave, people who are immigrants from Europe, vaqueros, cowboys from Mexico, Native Americans. I mean, the Wild West is not just, you know, the cowboys that we think of. You know, it took a lot of people to sort of tame the wilderness. Well, yeah, if they can sue an NFL team and shame them, imagine what they could do to Warpportal. We don't want to be doing that. Like, Jesus. When you look at that logo, it's really, I don't think so, guys. I don't think you're honoring a lot of heritage here. It's kind of gross. You know, I think if you reduce a culture, I mean, that's one of the issues with the. That is kind of one of the issues with the concept in general for the culture towns is that they kind of are reducing these different cultures who have run Ragnarok into basically caricatures or sometimes broad stereotypes of what folklore or what NPCs would look like from the town. Also, let's see what we got here. We've got the train. I don't know how high up you can go in RO. I don't know if you can have... It's not a mechanical keyboard, but it is very, very, very close to the microphone. So I do apologize for that. I'm still trying to figure out how to get the darn... where the heck the palette for the... I'm trying to find where the palette for colors have gone on here. It's very frustrating. Yeah, I just don't know where the thing's gone. No, not there. Well, I guess it'll just have to be monochrome for the time being. What could I do? I suppose this part we could lower back down, so kind of would have this area up here that would sort of be raised. In the grand tradition of Ragnarok, maze-like maps, I guess we'd have to have ours too. And so I think one of the questions would be sort of like the railway has stopped. Much like a certain future time travel, future and past time travel. Actually, one thing I would love to get would be a map that is a train car. So you could have kind of like robbery on the train or fun stuff like that. Oops. No, I don't like that. Let's see. Google search for Old West. For some of these, it's kind of like, well, we can kind of make this. Some stuff we may be able to make on our own, so would not necessarily have Caro need to make everything. But the maps are kind of the big deal. If we could get maps and NPCs, that would sort of be like, hey, that is exactly the stuff that we needed. Yeah, I think on the subject of having NPCs inspired by Native American culture, I think that would be something that would be very, very cool. Of course, you have to be respectful about it. But yeah, I would want to have. Probably most of my knowledge is of Navajo. Us living in the Southwest, we probably know a little bit more about that culture, but that's why one of the pictures I've got here is a Navajo Hogan, which is, not everybody lived in a teepee and all that kind of stuff. They had all kinds of dwellings tailored for wherever they lived, and it's really cool just how these cultures adapted to the often unforgiving environments of the Americas. Yeah, a lot of people have suggested like having a ghost train as a enemy type. I think that would be pretty cool. Like, there's a lot of neat folklore kind of stuff you could do with, just like American history stuff that would be really nifty. Yeah, Ghostbusters 2 would kind of be a good example of what a ghost train enemy could look like. Again, no guarantee in the entire world that this will ever be possible to be made at this level of complexity, but I think it sure would be fun to try, huh? So for future expansions, it It might be fun to have like the train going this way or something like that. Actually, no. You know what? I don't like that. Let's erase that. Actually, I would like to do. I think it'd be fun to have like an old Mexico expansion to this map. Something where you, not unlike Red Dead Redemption, head into Mexico in a future quest. Like, there's seriously a lot of really cool history. You could do like a, oops. You could do a map that is inspired by, pre-Columbian mythology. I think it'd be fun to have like Incan stuff. Like, it would be pretty cool to draw on the mythology of other countries in our same region. Not just North America, but Central and South America. They got some really cool legends that you could also draw off of. I mean, we've got Brazil, very cool stuff there, but there weren't a lot of other Central or South American versions of the game, so we never really had a lot of towns or anything from there. And so I think that could be kind of cool. Yeah, gauchos. You could have a monster themed after Quetzalcoatl, which I probably mispronounced horribly, by the way. But yeah, why not have one of the rails go off in this direction? Be like Saludos Amigos. Oops, let me get the music started again. I have no idea if you guys are actually having a fun time watching me like very slowly draw this stuff up, but I am really having a good time here. It's just tremendous fun. Yeah, Chupacabra, like there's a lot of awesome monsters that you totally could bring in if you had like South American or Central American cultural stuff too. So yeah, I'd have, this is to lay in the option of having a future town that is going to the south of our southwestern America. Oh, nice. Thank you very much for watching this really weird stream I decided to do. You know what? When there's no co-host, that's what happens. Oda does what he wants. Well, let's see. Well, I suppose this whole thing doesn't have to be I guess this whole thing doesn't have to necessarily be a valley. Bring that up here. Well, I'm glad I could help reduce the boredom in Orchid Dungeon. Maybe this should be a little closer here. I mean, this could be a body of water or something like that. That, yeah, they're still building the rails here. So, I guess we should have like a pile of rails here. Nope. Yeah, so basically we'll have the construction stuff happening over here. Good idea. Don't forget to save. Yeah, so maybe one of the issues could be it may be difficult for the player to figure out how to get to the other side of this canyon. So maybe players have to go a long way around. We kind of have a mine going close to town, but you're right, that might be kind of a nice thing to have. Because, I mean, we've got Einbrock, you know, or Einbeck, which has a pretty extensive mine in it. So, I mean, that might be the place you'd want to go for that sort of thing. Oh, let's make this the mesa. I think in RO you can build up pretty high, as long as you don't have walk paths underneath. So yeah, let's go build that mesa. Actually, let's make it pretty tall. Actually, I would love to put in some cliff dwellings. That's kind of my alternate concept for the folks that sort of live in this region. And yeah, you have to take an elevator to get to the mesa. No, that's not even. Let's see, so you'd have to kind of go up here. All right, let's see. So these, all right, so we've got our dwelling here. Let's give it some altitude. So we've got kind of a cool pillbox shape. All right, so that is the traditional Navajo dwelling here. Let's see if I can give it a little bit more of a dome shape. Now it looks more like a pillbox, which, you know, still pretty cool. Oh, come on. Give it a little bit of a roof. I thought it'd be kind of cool to have something like, almost like a Tatooine, where you have a culture that is adapted to live kind of in this sort of desert surroundings. So you might actually have a equivalent to sort of like a moisture evaporator, you know, since they're steampunk too. Well, that's not to say that we can't have. Also, let's copy our little guy here. For scale. Well, okay, that's not too bad. Yeah, I mean, that's not to say that we can't have a, like, yeah, you know, you think Native Americans, you traditionally think of the architecture of like the Plains Indians, things like the teepee, the hogan. But, you know, it's like through the Southwest. Well, I guess they did have, let's see, Pueblo. No, I guess the Navajos did have Pueblo architecture. Yeah, there's no way they're gonna make this. But you know what? I'm having fun doing it. Maybe this would be kind of like the elders building or something like that. Oh yeah, Rod Jones says if you have more South American stuff, Aztec style pyramids. Oh yeah, that would definitely be going in. That stuff is really beautiful, fascinating stuff. The ruins of Peru. I think there's some really cool stuff you can get out of there. No, you know what? Simple, simple, simple. I think we should have more of a... Let's move this out of the way a little bit. Oops. Whoops. Did not like that. Oh, you know what? I probably have something hidden that's also stuck in there, so let's not do that. I kind of like the idea of all their stuff being sort of polygonal, sort of having this sort of hexagonal shape to it. I kind of dig that. Yeah, I think they should have some sort of like water collector thing. And I'm fully aware that this is just basically Tatooine at this point. Well, I think I will draw just a little bit more before I call it a day. I mean, I guess Veins kind of has a lot of cliff dwelling style architecture. Too soon, Inabashiri, too soon. Yeah, I mean the big thing of any map that you're creating is like what is it that is going to make people want to use it? Eh, nah, I don't care for that. I probably like sticking with the hexagonal thing. But yeah, essentially you can kind of see what I'm going for here. Oh. Santa Fe. Actually, that's a pretty cool look. Yeah, maybe a trading post would be cool. Affenbaum123, what's the name of the program? This is called SketchUp. Let me get you a link. Now, it's certainly not going to be as robust as something like 3D Studio, but it's 100% more free, and I'm a big fan of that. Apache WikiUps. Sand Painter Shelter. Medicine Lodge. Yeah, maybe we'll have that as a medicine lodge there. Summer shelter, trading post. Yeah, maybe a trading post would be cool. Probably won't feel tall enough. Can you set up SketchUp to use a grid system? I'm pretty sure I can turn on a grid. Solid tools, tape measure, protractor, axes. No, I don't need that. I'm pretty sure you could turn on a grid system. I just don't think I've done it before. It's pretty cool though. You actually can you can create a section plane and you can actually drag it through. This is sort of if you've made a more detailed architectural model, but you can drag a section plane so you can actually make basic blueprints and stuff depending on how complex you get of your map just by sort of dragging this window. You know, it's like coming out of hyperspace in Homeworld. It's basically that same effect. I'm sure this thing can do a grid system. I just need to find out how to turn on textures. Oh my gosh, here it is. Gee whiz. Whoops. All right, so the color is dark salmon. Finally, a little bit of color. See, if I had colored these from the get-go, it probably would be a little easier than what I'm trying to do here. Yeah, but it doesn't take that long. But I wanted to convey that kind of red oh nice. I guess it's set to only color stuff that has not been colored before. That's pretty cool. So yeah, I don't think I'm done with that just yet. So I'll leave that open. But let's get a blue color. for our little waterfall here. I've been saving periodically. So yeah, we've got our trading post. I don't know if it's too close or not, but we've got our Port Malaya man right here in the middle. White Outta says, are you making a map? The idea for this is that it would be a concept that we send to Korea in order to make a map. Just like, hey, you know, this is what we want. You know, maybe this will help them with the brainstorming process. But essentially telling them, you know, we want a map for for IRO, for our 12th anniversary. You know, this is kind of what we want. Oops, no, too much, too much. So yeah, we've got our native Midgardian. I don't know if this would be considered to be on the Midgard continent. DJ Mac, we sent the request for the quest for the NPCs, and we said, you know, we want 2 maps, but we didn't send them. We sent them concept art. You know, like if you look at the stuff on the sides here, like this is the kind of stuff that we sent to them. Like this is kind of what we want the map to look like. Same with the town. But I wanted to provide something that was a little more detailed for the maps themselves. So yeah, that's why we have our Rock Ridge map. It's like, hey, this is kind of the layout that we want. Yeah, oh my gosh. But yeah, time certainly has flied. I'd like to thank you guys very much for joining us. The music for this week is from incompetech.com, incompetech.com. It's a guy named Kevin MacLeod. Who provides kind of free royalty-free music for all kinds of different projects. And if you want to have free music, as long as you give him a little credit in your video, he allows you to use it. And so it's really fun stuff like this. He's got stuff that's piano music. He's got stuff that is like for a movie soundtrack or techno or jazz or rock. He has a really good selection of stuff, and it's just a tremendous amount of fun to listen to. So, yeah, let me link you guys to it. It seriously is an awesome website. This guy is awesome, and I definitely think you guys should check out his stuff. So I think I might wrap it up with that. I might still work on the field map, but I think the town map is about what I wanted it to be. I'd like to thank you guys again for watching and for joining me as I go insane talking and streaming for 2 hours straight. But yeah, you guys have a wonderful afternoon, and happy playing.